finally given a piece of bread. Can you picture how it would feel to have everything stripped from you? Everything including your hair? Now imagine being locked inside a fence and tortured. All of these things happened to the prisoners at the concentration camp Sachsenhausen. Today, I'll be informing you about these occurrences. This is the place no one should have gone. The prisoners sent to Sachsenhausen were not even considered human. Instead, they were just a number. What Sachsenhausen was, the kinds of people being sent there, and finally, the treatment the prisoners received, all contribute to making this particular concentration camp one of the most inhumane places. And today, I'm going to explain why. To begin, I would like to first explain what Sachsenhausen was. Sachsenhausen was established in 1936 in a disused factory where it was intended to house Hitler's political opponents, which included socialists, communists, and trade unionists. According to the History Channel of A&E television networks, political opponents were the first to go to the concentration camps in order to maintain Hitler's overall control and power over the German population. In addition, Sachsenhausen was very important to the Nazis due to its primary location compared to other concentration camps. The camp was located in a town called Orenburg, which is 20 minutes outside of Berlin. Berlin is the capital of Germany. Due to the centralized location, the administrative center for all the concentration camps was in Orenburg. According to Professor Gunther Morsch in 2009, who is the director of Sachsenhausen Memorial, Sachsenhausen became a training center for SS officers who would later be sent to oversee other concentration camps. Lastly, Sachsenhausen was strategically laid out where it was intended to set a standard for other concentration camps in terms of its design. The camp was known for its layout, which was an equilateral triangle with a semicircular roll call area, which was next to the front gate. The camp also consisted of 50 barracks, which housed the prisoners, and additional barracks, which served as an infirmary, a kitchen, and workshops. The camp had a stone wall around it, and inside the stone wall was an electric fence to prevent prisoners from escaping. Lastly, the prison consisted of a prison, a crematorium, a gas chamber, and morgues. I personally know this from my tour of Sachsenhausen. To give you a better picture of what the concentration camp's layout was, here is a diagram. As you can see, there's the equilateral triangle. Inside the triangle is the barracks, which house the prisoners. Here is the semicircular roll call area, which is right next to the front gate. Across from the front gate is the administrative center, which is where SS officers went to get trained. And right in the left-hand corner is the execution center, which consisted of the crematorium, the gas chamber, and the shooting range. To give you a better picture of what the shooting range and the execution center looked like, here's a photograph. Authority figures would line up the prisoners along the edges, and one by one would shoot the prisoners, where the dead bodies would fall into this ditch. This made it easier for people to carry the dead bodies into those doors, which led to the crematorium. Now that you know what Sachsenhausen was, I can move on to explain what types of people were sent there. As I mentioned before, the camp was used for imprisoning the political opponents. However, as time went by, several types of people were being sent there. Within months of being established, the camp increased from 50 inmates to over 2,000 inmates, according to Professor Gunther Morsch in 2009, who again is the director of Sachsenhausen Memorial. The primary inmates were Jews, since they were the main targets of the Nazi genocide. Hitler and other Nazi leaders viewed the Jews not as a religious group, but as a poisonous race which lives off other races and weakens them. This statement is from the United States Holocaust Memorial in 2010. Other inmates consisted of handicapped individuals, homosexuals, and gypsies. Again, according to the United States Holocaust Memorial in 2010, these inmates were sent to the concentration camps purely for punishment because Hitler believed they should be punished since they were less important. Overall, about 200,000 inmates were sent to Sachsenhausen between 1936 and 1935, according to Professor Gunther Morsch in 2009. All these prisoners were required to wear color-coded triangles on their jackets. This helped authorities figure out who the prisoner was and their background. For example, if a prisoner was a political opponent, he or she would wear a red triangle. Now, if he or she was Polish, there would be a P on the triangle. To give you a better understanding of what the inmates looked like, here's a photograph of inside a housing barrack. You can see all the men lined up, and these are where they slept. Notice that there's no cushions or pillows. Keep in mind, prisoners were not just adults. Children were sent to concentration camps as well. So far, I covered what Sachsenhausen was and what types of people were being sent there. Just as there are several types of people being sent to the concentration camps, there are several types and treatments prisoners received. First of all, prisoners were not given much to eat. As the numbers of prisoners kept increasing at Sachsenhausen, the food allotted to each prisoner kept decreasing. According to London Jewish Cultural Center in 2011, after morning roll call, the prisoners would be given their morning meal, which consisted of imitation coffee or herbal tea. For lunch, they were given a pint of watery soup. Secondly, the SS officers forced the prisoners to work. Inmates worked not only in SS-owned workshops, but small companies situated in the industry yard. In addition, they worked in various punishment units. Prisoners were forced to spend their entire day walking along shoe-testing tracks with shoes sometimes too big or too small, carrying 20 pounds of sand to test shoes for local manufacturers, according to Holocaust Education and Archive research team in 2011. Thirdly, prisoners had a lot of experimentations done to them. Medical researchers and scientists would amputate prisoners, amputate limbs per se, perform sterilizations, and also insert infectious diseases into muscles. This led to a lot of prisoners' deaths. Lastly, the authorities would directly kill the prisoners. Although the preferred method was shooting, in 1943, the camp built a gas chamber. Camp authorities would gas prisoners they deemed unfit to work or if they were ill. They were very friendly gentlemen who said, "Nothing much will happen to you. Perhaps you will be home again by this evening. But just in case, take the most necessary things with you. Your shaving things, washing things, whatever you need." So I went with them, and I believed them too. But when I came to Sachsenhausen, I was immediately taught different. This is part of Sigmund Weltner's testimony, who was a political opponent sent to be a prisoner at Sachsenhausen, according to the Holocaust Education and Archive research team in 2011. Fortunately for Sigmund, he survived the tortures of the Holocaust and was able to tell his story. However, many people were not as lucky as him. What Sachsenhausen was, the types of people being sent there, and lastly, the treatment the prisoners received, all contribute to making this particular concentration camp one of the most inhumane places. I hope the information I gave to you today helps you better understand what happened to the Holocaust. Just remember, if you're having a bad day, how privileged you are to be free. Free enough to live and be your own individual, despite what ethnicity, race, or sexual preference you are. Thank you. Have a nice day.